Hi, it's Christian. And 4 years ago today you heard those famous words for the first time. I'm action, I'm set, and I'm go. As we introduce to you our YouTube channel. Over 4 years there's been a lot of changes. So first off, I cannot believe we've made it to 4 years. I'm proud of what our channel has accomplished in the 4 years. I'm proud of all the traveling I've done in the past 4 years. And I'm grateful of all the people I have met and all the friendships that I have developed because of this channel. I've met so many awesome people I would have never have met before in my life. So with that being said, happy 4 years to this channel, and a big thank you to all of our supporters and our friends. We'd be nowhere without you. Where's Chris? I knew this was coming for a long time. As life goes on, changes are made.
As life goes on, sometimes interests in things change. And while you may have interests with a certain person that may start off similar interests, over time they have changed, and sometimes two people can move away from one another and go on different paths in life.
Did Chris leave my life? Absolutely not. He is one of my best friends. But in terms of the channel, he is actually still a member. This is not some sort of hiatus. This is not him leaving like go. But depending on what's going to happen in the future will depend on what does happen. That being said, I guess I'm going to explain myself. So as I posted on our Twitter, and as I posted on our Facebook page, and as I posted on our Instagram, things would be changing with our channel. Not in a bad way, a lot of positive ways. 2020 has been an interesting year, to say the least. I don't think anyone really knew what 2020 had in store. Hell, if you would have asked me back in February, we probably would have been chasing the big boy out in the Pacific Northwest. We would have been intercepting the Iowa Interstate 6988 somewhere. We would have definitely have shot Steam in the Valley this year. We would have shot other cool things because we wanted to get back to our channel's roots. That being said, as time has kind of moved on, and I noticed it back in 2018, I definitely noticed it last year, and I noticed it this year trying to get Chris back involved, our lives really did grow apart. And when it came down to the terms of the channel, both of us still enjoy Steam Chase, both of us still enjoy plane spotting together. But at the end of the day, Chris's life had moved on, whereas mine really did become the channel. It was always weird describing, in a nutshell, that there were other members, because since 2017 I've been doing the majority of the traveling, and that is fine. And that is another reason for the name change. So I'll get to in a second. I'm very scatterbrained if you know me. But with that being said, Chris is still a co-founder of this channel, will always be treated as a co-founder of this channel. Any material he brings will always be posted here. We will always continue to work together as a team. But we both decided it was time. When the channel was founded, as someone who was a kid of the 90s, one of the things I've always learned is, obviously don't post everything on the internet, nor do you post who you are. That was something that I learned back in the 90s. When we first started this channel, we were very anonymous, and I love that until I started meeting people. Still, I started developing friendships with people. And that is why it was always Action, Set, and Go, Railfanning Other Cool Stuff. And because of Go's departure, that is why we've never fully released who Go was, and that's fine. And Go's doing great. As I always update every year on the anniversary video, we always run into him. Life moves on, and it's a good thing. That being said, Chris and I are still going to collaborate. Me and him are still going to plane spot. Me and him are still going to chase together. But over the past few years, his availability to be going out of town and stuff with other side projects he's working on is understandable. And he has got a very busy plate on himself. So the title Action, Set, Go, Railfanning and Other Cool Stuff didn't exactly fit the channel anymore. Obviously, like I said, I've made a lot of friends on the road. I've met a lot of amazing people I never would have thought I would have met without this channel. And pretty much keeping up the moniker of, hey, I'm Action, Set, Go, or I'm one of Action, Set, Go, I realized that name was stupid. We pretty much have evolved past that. I spent 2 months trying to figure out a name, and when we both thought it was still going to be us 100% of the time, we tried a few different things. Then that's when I realized, C. Henderson, Rail Productions. My first initial, my last name, Rail Productions. 90% of the content you see on this channel is railfanning related. Many of it is steam locomotive related, and right behind me for all the Pennsylvania Railroad fans is the famed Pennsylvania Railroad 4483. This is a steam locomotive I've seen most in my life, and I figured there was no better way to shoot this video with the name change than actually standing in front of this locomotive. And yes, even though I know it is never going to happen, I would love to see that thing under steam. I know it'll never happen. I know probably everyone is getting ready to type and tell me in the comments it will never happen. I know it's not going to happen, and I'm okay with that. But back to, I'm trying to keeping a mindset on how little the finder glass is compared to where I'm standing, because I do want that in the background. That being said, what is going to happen with the future of our channel? I know we spoke about taking hiatuses this year. Main reason for that is because of the fact that I've been trying to become a better person myself. If there's anything I've been doing a lot of in 2020 is self-reflecting, and I think I've made a lot of good changes over the past year. And the title to me, like I said, Action Set Go, Railfanning Other Cool Stuff, it was a mouthful to say, and I just didn't feel it fit us anymore. See, Henderson Rail Productions fits pretty much 90% of what our content is. It's pretty much rail related, whether it's a steam locomotive, whether it's a video on heritage units, whether it's me bored modern rail fanning, or whether it's me chasing classic Algos of the line I'm standing next to, Buffalo Southern, or New York and Lake Erie, or whenever I just decide that I want to go chase a diesel just for fun. That being said, there's still going to be plane spotting. We'll always be plane spotting, and there's always going to be and other cool stuff, which is why the name was so crazy in the first place. I love history. I love ships. When we do get through this pandemic, you can almost guarantee me going back to a ship museum. There are many ships I've always wanted to see, and a lot of them are near railroads that I've always wanted to shoot. And as I stand here tonight, this is the first of many changes. If I literally told you all the changes coming, you'd probably get bored. I do want to start selling some of my photos. So that being said, probably a lot of you are going to be glad if you ever do reference me. You don't have to type in the full title, Action Set Go, Railfanning and Other Cool Stuff, but it will be C. Henderson Rail Productions. And I also did my research before starting this. Over the next few months, probably updates will be more released to what is going to be happening. As you've seen this year, the only thing that was really planned that went through this year, without a doubt, was the Conway Scenic 7470. I did get to see the Southern 4501 twice this year. I also got to go down to Strasburg multiple times, and I was able to see 425, which is one of my top favorite locomotives. Heritage unit wise, I have been on fire this year. So for the past 4 years, I have enjoyed everything. Every moment of this channel has been fun, and me and Chris will continue to work together, but I really felt the 4th year anniversary after me and his discussion needed to be filmed solo. He will probably be back for the Thanksgiving update video. That being said, thank you for all the support. Thank you for enjoying everything. I hope you all like the new name change. I hope you all stay tuned. But anyhow, I'm Christian. Thanks for always supporting me, and thanks for always supporting our channel. Christian here. I just want to thank everyone who has supported my channel over the past 4 years. First off, by support, I mean whether you subscribe to C. Henderson Rail Productions on YouTube, whether you have followed us on Instagram and Twitter, or liked us on Facebook, or follow us on all 4 platforms. Your support means the world, and we hope you enjoy our content. That being said, the one thing I did promise with the 4-year anniversary special was a Q&A session to be included in the video, unlike our usual Instagram Q&A sessions. And if you do love these Q&A sessions, I suggest you tune into Instagram, because we do them a little bit more this year, but we don't do them that often. Originally, I recorded this last week Thursday after wrapping up the last 4-year Q&A session. But the audio and the video from where I shot it at really sucked. So I figured, you know what? This is the last time I can record this year. Where am I currently recording it at? I'm recording it in my childhood house, because this is the last video I can record here. Personal note, not that anyone needs to know, my childhood house went on the market this year and is sold. It's 2 weeks before it goes into the new owner's hands, and I figured, you know what, this would be great to shoot one last video here. It was actually in this room where I shot a few of the channel updates over the past year. That being said, well, actually, in case you're curious why we're not shooting it in there, and I was just being a little OCD about the door, in case you're curious why we're not shooting it in there, there's currently no light in there. So without further ado, I'm going to read it off of my phone, the Q&A session. And these were all the questions that were submitted to us via Instagram over the span of 2 weeks. So, Strictly Steam and Steam_A_model asked the question, favorite steam engine. My favorite steam engine will always be the Union Pacific 844. A lot of that goes back for childhood nostalgia with Shining Time Station. However, though, as Action Set Go, Railfanning and Other Cool Stuff Chris, myself, and Go always loved the 1225. And I will always say the 1225 was our channel's favorite steam locomotive. It was one of the locomotives we really got our feet wet chasing. Tri-State Railfan asked me, what are your top 3 Norfolk Southern Heritage units? Well, I'll tell you what, buddy. I'm going to give you a better one. I'm going to give you my top 5. Conrail, New York Central, Pennsylvania, Nickel Plate Road, and Southern. Conrail's my favorite. I actually remember growing up with Conrail. I remember Big Blue. Say what you want about the railroad, but I always loved the paint scheme. Your mate, Skate, unfortunately your name got cut off. Have you ever seen an engine derail or injure someone? Thank God, no. We were chasing 844 the year that it hit the lady on the Cheyenne Frontier Days excursion, but luckily we missed it. Panzer_3_AUSF. What's your favorite class of locomotive? I actually really don't have an answer to this. I thought about this one. To me, steam is steam. I might have a favorite locomotive. I mean, in all honesty, I've always preferred the Berkshires because they are close to us. But that being said, I love Mikados, I love Mountains, I love the Northerns, I love the Berks, I love the Articulateds. I really don't have a favorite class of steam locomotive. Steve, WIVBEEVY, I apologize, I didn't know how to pronounce your channel name, asked, most anticipated steam locomotive restoration and favorite car. Well, my most anticipated steam locomotive restoration would have to be the Western Maryland Scenic 1309. Mainly because of how long that's gone on and because of the fact I really do believe we will be seeing 734 shortly, which 734 is one of my top 5 favorite steam locomotives. But I just think over the past 6 years, even before I started this channel, even before I started seriously railfanning, so many of us, we've just watched the whole saga play out and we just cannot wait to see 1309 move. My favorite car, on the other hand, would have to be a Chevy Chevelle. My uncle owned a Chevy Chevelle. STCRAPO asked, would you sacrifice Norfolk and Western 611 to the scrap gods for a New York Central or B&A J class Hudson? Honestly, no. I like 611. As cool as it would be to have a Hudson, I'm okay with 611. Zion Train Guy asked, will you be at RBMN and N Outer Station for the T1? And the answer to that is, as I always state, I never post where I'm going. Even though I hint and toy with it, I never exactly post. That being said, I honestly don't know. I've actually recently, which will shock a lot of people, have gotten a lot more hyped for the restoration of the 2102, but I don't know if I'll actually be there for the first run. Life goes down many different twists and turns. Diecast_and SL, I apologize, your name got cut out, asked New York Central or Pennsylvania Railroad. And this was actually asked in another Q&A session on Instagram, and believe it or not, I really don't have a preference. I grew up reading and hearing about the stories of both the New York Central Railroad and the Pennsylvania Railroad. To me, both are legendary, but to also me, I don't really have a preference between the two of them. Santa Fe is my favorite former Class 1 railroad, but to me, they're both amazing. I mean, I'm not going to lie, as I said in the beginning of this video, I would love to see 4483 running someday. I know it's never going to happen, so we don't need to crowd the comment section with that. Lane's Train says yes, and after this weekend, I say no. Okay, so this next person asks us, wanting to remain anonymous. First question is favorite 90s Nicktoon, and I'm going to have to say that's a split between Doug and Hey Arnold. Doug to me is an underrated classic, and it took years to understand just how great that show was. I could relate to it a lot as a kid, and even looking back at it as an adult, it really was a modern Charlie Brown. Even though the show is approaching 30 years old, Doug is just a timeless classic. Hey Arnold, on the other hand, I always loved it. It didn't take me time to warm up to it. And the one thing watching Hey Arnold as an adult is it is amazing to see everything that we missed in that show as a kid. Yeah, we got the basic gist, football head, raised by his grandparents, wants to find out what happens to his real parents. But really the show's creator put in a lot of stuff there that not even myself picked up on until I rediscovered the show as a teenager. There were a lot of social justice issues that it did bring to our attention. And for that, I'm thankful for Hey Arnold, because I never realized that a lot of these causes that a lot of people support were put in the show as a kid. And to be fair, I absolutely loved how they ended the show. If you have yet to see the Jungle movie and you loved Hey Arnold, I cannot recommend it enough. It was hands down the best movie of 2017. This next one isn't a question, but it is a statement. Not a question, but Fry and Leela are the best couple on TV, and absolutely yes. Fry and Leela, this was another show that I've watched many different points in my life. I remember sneaking watching it as a kid. This is Futurama, by the way, like The Simpsons. I remember watching it as a teenager, and I've been watching it recently. The humor is unrivaled. I love the fact that the storylines actually connect. And I gotta honest to God say yes, Fry and Leela, honest to God, are the best couple on TV. It is amazing just how many times they shoved that relationship in our face in the shows, and the development of it was absolutely beautiful. Last question by this person who wanted to remain anonymous. My favorite Thomas narrator? Well, hands down, that would have to be Mr. Ringo Starr. Mike vs. Thumbs asked, how long do you typically have to travel to see an operational steam locomotive? However long the car goes. Honestly, I really don't have an answer to that because it varies. The farthest I've ever driven was for the Iowa Interstate 6988 when it pulled excursions last year for Menlo and Anita, and that was close to a 14-hour ride. CN_7470 asks, coming back to Conway this winter, and as I stated before, I never really announce where I'm going. However, if 7470 is running, you can guarantee I'll be back at some point in the future. Vincent Mingo, I think is how you say it, 8, put 11. Okay? Is this a reference to Spinal Tap? If that's the case, then these amplifiers go to 11. And that was it from the first Q&A session. The last Q&A session, I got these questions. Train Photos asked me, which is hands down my favorite question, what's your earliest Railfanning memory? And that would have to be watching the Buffalo Southern Railroad as a kid. I don't know when I started watching it, but I remember I used to always watch it with my grandfather, my mom, and my grandmother. My grandfather and my mom as a kid. And the earliest locomotive I ever remember seeing run, even before Tennessee Valley 610, would have to be the 2010. That hands down is my favorite diesel locomotive and is the main reason I love high hoods. 765 Fanboy asked, what are your thoughts on seeing Milwaukee Road 261 last September? I really don't have any thoughts on it. I mean, it's definitely an underrated steam locomotive. It is a Great Northern, and I could literally go on about how I think everyone should see 261, but it was steam and it was great. Southeastern Rail Fan, I think that's your name also got cut off, asked, was there a chase that almost made you guys quit? Yes, the Frisco 1630 chase of 2017. That week was just a disaster. Unfortunately, it all had to happen when I went in Chicago. A few personal issues happened back home, and when we left that 1630 chase, I really thought about ending the channel. And then me and Chris went and we chased 1225 together, and we went to the Tennessee Valley Railroad Museum for Tennessee Valley Rail Fest, and honestly, those events and everything else definitely made me appreciate the channel more. That's the only chase that ever really made me want to quit this channel. I_Trooper089 asked, are you going to finish that croissant? No. The Tran Boy C, I apologize, I don't know how to pronounce your name, and your name got cut off, said clues on what steam locomotives will be in the video. Really, this is just an anniversary video. Whatever steam locomotives are in it are whatever steam locomotives will be in it. Lane's Trains asked, is there any videos you would like to redo? And yes, a lot of videos that I have wanted to redo, I have gotten to redo. Mainly, I would love to shoot a better Steam in the Valley video. Believe it or not, anything before the Somerville chase of 2018, the doubleheader one specifically, I would love to redo. A lot of my early videos, I'm now starting to get that feeling of cringe, but they're not bad. And rewatching the 765 Steam in the Valley Director's Cut video definitely made me see that. That was before I stopped panning. That was when I believed I could pan. And now that I've gotten more into taking still along with getting video, there is a few chases I would like to redo. A lot of them I've been able to redeem myself on, in my opinion, but I think if there's one mainly I could redo, it's definitely both Kurtwood Highlander videos. And at one point they were one of my favorite videos of the channel. The new Rail Fan said die. And last question, Red Fire Blood says, does the engine burn C2 oil? I'm only going to assume because when I did the last Q&A session you're referring to the Iowa Interstate. You're referring to the Iowa Interstate 6988, and no, it burns coal. Again, I thank everyone for the point that we've gotten to with this channel. I don't know what is truthfully going to happen for the rest of this year. And I hope you stick around with me for another 4 years. Thank you.